let us start with Splunk security cloud. This is a simple keyword which you can type and you can go in here and take it, right? A Splunk website where you will get it. You just register yourself. Okay, I'm just taking a quick run through here, right? You have here Splunk Cloud, Splunk Security, all these things, and
I have one doubt. Is it can be possible for like application app instead of cloud as well?
both are possible. Like, you want to have it on a cloud. This is why we picked up for a cloud, is mainly to just showcase on a quick note. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
Splunk deployment goes in two ways. One is on premise, another is on a cloud, right? So
Okay.
when
Okay.
when we talk about on a cloud, it is especially a SaaS model, software as a service, or a security software as a service, right? So
Okay. Okay.
your you can the Splunk gives you a particular public IP address, like an AWS instance, if you have used ever.
Okay.
You guys might have used Azure or Google Cloud or AWS instances, right? Where they
Okay.
where they give you a dedicated IP address, right? So where
Okay.
they you can open certain amount of ports, right, to that
Okay.
particular instance, and then have that port pointed in your respective local systems or any other systems. Maybe it is on other cloud or on the same cloud, or it may be on premise, but it should be available on your public domain, right? So public IP
Okay.
address, that is a
Okay.
requirement. Okay,
Okay.
so now all your traffic to be diverted to this traffic, in the sense logs. Okay, it's a
Okay.
log reader. Log reader.
Excuse me, Jinmay.
Yeah.
So, what are the things we are doing Splunk Cloud and in premises that this will be same, or steps or something will be differ?
Yeah, I am coming to the same point. Just have a
Okay.
patience. Let me explain it. The thing is, on the cloud, it is ready-made. Splunk would have already installed the base Splunk security system, right? And it is ready for your use, and you just need to configure the ports so that your Splunk cloud can accept the logs from the standalone systems. So that
Uh,
is the thing which is available. But on premise, when you take it on premise, you need to install Splunk. Splunk is available, especially you go to here on this, Splunk website. You have here something called, I have kept it here anyway, ready. Correct? Splunk installing on Windows or Linux, or there is also for Mac, but Mac is not widely used, right, for Splunk security. Either you can use it on Windows or on Linux. People typically, security organizations install Splunk security on Linux because that is easy to troubleshoot, easy to configure, etc., etc. Right, where you can get into the back end of the system and then configure yourself or something. Maybe you can customize the configuration, all such kind of things. Okay, right? So this is on premise. Now, in case of on premise, what happens? The network topology changes, right? If you have it on a cloud, it's on a public network. If you have it in on premise, then your network topology changes. At that time, you may have multiple offices, right? An office in India, maybe in Bangalore, another office maybe in Washington DC, another office maybe in London, another office maybe in anywhere in Sydney or something of that sort. You have a distributed network in corporate environment. Your security devices such as firewalls or intrusion prevention devices or gateway antiviruses or such kind of security devices would have the have to have a, they will be the part of different LAN segments, right? Different LAN. So at that time, what happens is you might be connected on an MPLS connectivity, which is a common cloud for the organization, or you may want to connect on a point-to-point network. right? Point to point, or maybe over the internet, where you can create a particular hub, spoke, or such kind of a VPN model, VPN topology. So at that time, you need to take care of your networking part so that all those devices, security devices at various places of the world, need to send the logs to your Splunk on-premise setup, which may be in one of these locations.
Okay, that app will be free. We can use for 30 days. Enterprise security app.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right? You see here, you have SIEM, right? Security Incident and Event Management, right? So what is it here? You can see through this, and you can download that particular solution, being here security, and here security analysis and response, risk mitigation, all these things actually. If I say this, I can be able to download the trial version, and you people can do it. You can register yourself and then do that, or you can get a sandbox which is on cloud for your practice, right? To get the sandbox, you have to obtain your login. That's the thing, right? You see here, you have start trial. This trial especially is a cloud version.
Cloud. Okay, there is another also we can install add-on, right?
Download as a standalone application, and then you can start using that. Which is the installation procedure is quite quick, and I can show you that other products of Splunk, especially, also are there. You can see here security, Splunk security, Splunk for IT operation, Splunk for IoT. You see, these are all the main categories of Splunk, where our concentration is Splunk for security, right?
It's like a enterprise security app.
Yes, SIM solution is enterprise security app. No, sandbox in the sense it is your trial box which you can use in your own way. Sandbox is this. This is sandbox. What I have
Okay,
installed here.
okay, okay.
This is the sandbox. Okay. So once I say this, I'm trying to save time in the middle, because what am I doing is Splunk security. When I click on free sandbox, okay,
Okay.
I get this actually, after a particular registration procedure. Registration, it's a 3 or 4 steps of registration, where you have to give your email ID, you have to give your details, personal details, and you have to give your, uh, all, the thing is you have to create your login, nothing other than that. Okay.
Okay.
You have to do your registration, user account registration, and then you will land onto this particular page by logging. Okay. Clear? Let us go through this screen now.
So I will install a Splunk instant in Windows 7 or whatever it may be. On top of that, I will install the security app, enterprise security app for Splunk. So it will be okay, or it requires a license version.
See, for the installation, it is starting with, there is a trial version, there is a license version. Okay.
Okay.
For your academic purpose, it is a trial version only. But full-fledged utilization of Splunk security, you need enterprise version,
Okay.
right? Various features and everything.
Okay. So in
And
this course, okay.
you also get 7 days trial, right? After 7 day, it will ask for your, activation or something like that. You want to activate, you can activate. Otherwise, you have to do a fresh download and try using it again.
Okay. Then that means I can license version free trial. I can use enterprise security app, right?
Exactly. Right
Okay.
now, what am I trying to explain you guys is, use this cloud thing first of
Hmm.
all, till you get used to the Splunk system.
Okay.
Okay. You can see here the menu. What is there on the top of the screen? One is home, Next is a security posture. Next is, okay, well, it's gotten clicked off. Okay, well, and next is a incident review. Next is investigations, glass tables, security intelligence, security domains, audit, search, and configure. Okay, you have here complete security stack or security audit stack, I could say, right? Or it you know, I will explain you each of the tabs now. Is home screen is a typical home screen where you have all the various panes stacked in a particular screen. That, again says it's a nothing but these tabs itself are replicated here, right? Security posture, what does a posture mean? In a general language, general English, posture means like the look and how appearance, right? How you appear, that is a posture. So now the posture of your entire organizational network, security overview of your entire organization is shown in this particular posture tab, where that covers on a like a bird's eye view on security infrastructure. Next is an incident review. Okay, there is a difference between, there are two things when we consider about security incident and event management, right? There are two words, one is incident, another is event. Okay, let me explain this particular concept. What is an event? Event is about something happening on a particular system which is getting reported into Splunk, such as if I have 100 security devices reporting to Splunk security, right? Then each device reports to Splunk about the happenings on that. Those happenings are recorded in logs of each of those systems, which gets reported by means of forwarding those events into Splunk. Those are called events. That is a simple happening without any intelligence, right? Now, what is incident? Incident is correlation or combination of multiple events, and it is also a collection of sequence of events, right? So am I clear here? Incident is a set of events in a sequential order, right? That means an incident is something that has happened and that requires attention and response to it. So the incident review, like there are set of events happened and that because of that a particular incident occurred. Splunk records in the same manner. Next is investigations. Investigations is what? Investigations is the third step of machine learning. Very first step of machine learning was the historical analysis. Next was the diagnosis, right? So, sorry, next, next was the review and then the diagnosis. Now the investigation is about diagnosis. So, which does the detailed analytics of any incident or event that happened, why it happened, who created it, who it was destined to, all such kind of details, and what kind of a protocol. Everything comes in investigations, which you can deep dive into an event or incident. That is investigations. Next, glass tables. These are all like certain kind of the showcasing of the mechanism, like how can an incident happen, an event happen, an investigation. These are all the investigative parameters, and this is what we found after investigations. So that's on the glass table. And next is intelligence, building intelligence. So in case of security intelligence, what I have first one is a risk analysis, right, for on my network. Next is a protocol intelligence. Next is a threat intel. Next is a user intel, and then next is a web intel, right? So as I told earlier, All these four models we are going to study. These are based on the threat models. Is any of you aware of what a threat model is? The threat model, right? The various different models are there, such as stride model, pasta model, strike model, right? So this security intelligence page or is inspired by such kind of threat models, where it gives you one entire network risk analysis, and then the next, the mitigative measures, where a protocol intelligence is there, threat intelligence is there, user intelligence is there, and web intelligence. So protocol intelligence is in how many protocols are in transaction on my network and what is their behavior, whether they are compliant to the respective standards. The protocols in the internet, any protocols or all the protocols have to comply to RFC standard. RFC as in request for comment standards. You want to learn about any protocol, visit the RFC pages, right? Because there is a IEEE standard which is defined on under OSI model, where it is quite clearly and detailedly depicted that how a protocol should look like, right? And how a protocol should behave. Next, threat intelligence, such as what is the threat diaspora which is impacting my network. So that's about threat intelligence, such as how many ransomware attacks tried, how many succeeded, how many did not succeed, how many were caught, and how it was caught, right? And how many viruses, how many worms, and what are those, all such kind of details you will see in the threat intelligence, where threat intelligence helps you as a precautionary measure for your future events. That is the benefit of threat intel. Next is a user intelligence. User intelligence is about the user behavior on your network. If you have on your network, there may be 1,000 users, 100 users, or maybe millions of users, right? Splunk will keep flagging, stating that, okay, so and so is not behaving great, right? So he is attracting more and more threat. His system is attracting more and more threat, and he is trying more and more violations. That is what it is. So, raising such kind of flags is in user intelligence, and it takes the help of the systems such as identity management or AAAs. Next is a web intelligence. As I told you, the most transacted protocol is HTTP, right? So in case of HTTP, so lot of attacks such as cross-site scripting or DDoS or any such kind of a stealth attacks or something that happens on actually the this particular web intelligence, right? So it captures everything on web intelligence, right? Well, so the next one is security domains. In case of security domains, we are going to configure the access list. That is, who can log in the Splunk system, such as endpoint, network, identity, and all such kind of things. Next is audit. This is a detailed audit, right? So like it's a complete security audit tools, means you don't need to do any manual job, where Splunk will gather all those intelligences, and then it will present the respective audits, such as incident review audit. So this is also called root cause analysis, and suppression audit, and adaptive response action center, and per panel filter audit. Like, you can create your own customized filters out there for threat intel or audit, yes, and various such kind of audits, right? So next is you can search for a respective dashboard or reports or predictive analytics or data sets. Then comes system basic configuration, right? So where it gives you what all the things you can configure on the Splunk system. It is native to Splunk system. Okay, so this is a higher level overview, and you could see here there's a topmost bar which is like it's an the notification bar, right? How you have it on your LinkedIn, Facebooks. It's a catchy thing, so that immediate those things that require immediate attention can be flagged here. For that purpose, there is a notification bar. Okay, see, you see here extreme search, all those quick, the tools are mentioned here. Same way, there are quick messages which are high, critical most at this moment on Splunk. Those events are recorded here as a message where, and settings, which are all typical settings on the Splunk where you can configure the devices, etc., etc. And these are all scheduled tasks, especially a particular schedule task, whether it is done or I want to set up the quick access tools. These are especially. So it takes, because it's quite rich screen, right? So it has a lot of things on it. One by one, this is a widget based system where you see there the numbers at the topmost, the section of the screen being populated, right? So these are based on currently whatever the Splunk cloud has got that data. Okay, it is not, don't think that it is my data. Okay, I have not configured this because Splunk has, for their demonstration purposes, they have configured some systems in their respective cloud for us showcasing basis. Well, good for our study anyhow, right? So access notables, total count 350, endpoint notables, oh god, it got clicked. I'll go back to security posture because when I click on them, it takes me to the detailed incident. Okay. Okay. We are back on this. Endpoint notables, like what are all the systems and all? Network notables, identity notables, audit notables, threat notables. It is covering every menu item which you saw in the top, right? With the statistics. Next is notable events by urgency. You can see there types of events, right? So starting from the informational events till the critical. So Splunk has right now three things categorized. One is low, another medium, another critical. So right now there are a lot of medium events which are being recorded, correct, on the Splunk system. So there are some criticals. Okay. Next, notable events over time. Like this is your timestamp, like time scale or a timeline on the Splunk system, right? So where you see here, the by access, by audit, by endpoint, network, and threat. You have color coding where you can see yourself. You can go through this. It shows the timestamp, and there is a peaking time between 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. There is a lot of things happen. Correct. So where you see peaking 156 access events happened occurred during that time, right? Endpoint events 35, as well as audit events of number of 40, right? Next, top notable events. Here you get your threat intelligence. Okay, hosts with multiple infections are 169. Excessive failed logins. That means there is a lot of brute force happening on your network. Brute force as in somebody is trying to enter into the systems by trying, login attempts, making login attempts. So those are failing, which is being recorded on your end devices, which send it to Splunk. Okay. Next, threat activity detected. So threat activity detected are 58, and so on so forth. There are many. And if you want to go to the next screen, you can go here itself, the next screen. Here itself, right? There is a pagination which is made. Okay, so now you see here something, right? For a detailed search. This is for detailed search of more and more events. And this is like, you can export this because you may want to send it to escalate it to the top level of your organization. Say, for example, if a SOC operator is, operating this Splunk uh, on day-to-day basis, he can download it and escalate it to his next level manager that, okay, this is my Splunk's report for the for this particular day or week or whatever the number of days. Next, inspect more and refresh for the new events. I could do this. It was refreshed 4 minutes ago, and I refresh now, and this is the same state, right? And there is something else here. The top notable event sources. Okay, so yes,
So
Moses.
yeah, I just want to try based on what you've been explaining.
Yes,
So right now the screen we're looking at is the security posture screen, and the notable event source that gives us like the specific location where those events originated from. Maybe they are see like IP addresses. Um,
correct.
hello.
Yes, yes. Carry on, carry on.
Yeah, so I see like the specific IP address. I don't know if those let me call those port numbers. Um,
It is just
and
an
then
IP address. You are right
yeah, so
about it. Just an IP
yeah, so
address.
yeah, so it gives you an IP address, and then I see a correlation count. That also means like the number of times that that event has originated from that particular IP address. Then security domain count. So it's like a detail of the security posture of a particular event from a particular source.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if
Okay.
I'm correct.
Yes. 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 It's correct, but let me make it more correct. Okay. Yeah. So here, when I talk about the source, right? So source is, don't think it is a firewall. I explained you guys about the deployment model of Splunk, right?
Yes.
So Splunk is not implemented like a firewall, right? Splunk is implemented as a standalone device that accepts the set of events from firewall kind of devices. Correct?
Okay.
That means these are the events forwarded from the connected and devices, such as if 10 firewalls are connected and they are forwarding the logs to Splunk, right? I have a firewall on my network which is carrying IP address 192.168.56.102, right? So
Yes.
that firewall is generating 23 counts of that has generated 23 counts of events that has given me so many events and security domain count and correlation search count. Here, right, if we deep dive, right now I'm going to click on this. It's going to take me to the next screen of incident review, right? Now,
Yes.
if I review this incident, what I can see here, search source, right? Source here. Now you see here set of events, right? That means it may be a firewall, okay? This firewall or this security device has detected so many the threat activities of urgency level of critical, and currently these are in new state, means each event has to undergo a particular life cycle. Correct? Means a new event occurred and somebody needs to acknowledge that event. Now if I could do this here, here the new, instead of new, if I address it, it becomes acknowledged, and then it it can go to, it can go out of this list, right? So now I will elaborate it here. Now let us see what it is, right? This is the detail of that particular event which was forwarded to me by a device of 192.168.56.102. And here you have what is attack source, sorry, attack's destination, and what is the source of attack also would be here, right? All these attack details are here. Source is this, right?
Yeah.
Now I have risk score of 2. That is, when I go into this, risk management, it will be more detailed. Anyway, I'm not taking so deep dive right now, but I'm going to explain simply the threat activity. You see here the description. Threat activity was discovered in the destination field based on the threat intelligence available in the IP Intel collection. That means Splunk has already collected some amount of threat intelligence. Based on that, it is categorizing this as a description, right? Now, what is the type of the event? You have here the type and place and etc. of the events here. More details are here, correct? So this is a threat activity which was detected and at this respective time, which is of this nature, right? That means you have here more and more details here: event ID, event type, notable, and all those things. Now you have action here. The correlation search, the related investigation, currently not investigated. It was not investigated, right? There is a correlation search where it gives you a threat source and destination matches, threat gen, right? And history. View all review activity for this notable event. And what is the next step? Because since it is not investigated, you would not have the next step what to do, right? There is no prescriptive analytics still done on this event because it is waiting for user to respond on this event, right? Now I would say action. What should I do? If I take an action, then I could see the prescriptive analytic on the respective event. Now in the action, I can say add this to a threat intel or add event to the investigation and take it for the further investigation, or create a notable event, because this kind of event I want to create and keep it in notable events. Where did we see that notable events? In one of these the tabs, right? Especially in the events tab.
Yeah.
Or I can build event type or extract the fields for further detailing of it, or run adaptive response actions, or share notable event, or suppress the notable events. Means this may be a noisy event. This may not make sense, right? At that time, I want to suppress it. Okay. Or I can reimage the workstation. This is like reinstalling that respective system. Okay. But for this, there is a certain other requirement. In the future classes will come to know about those things anyway, but reimage a workstation is still possible. This is the thing, right? So this is what about the security posture screen.
Yeah. So as you told, actually, the data source is already in the top notable event sources. Data sources is reflecting, right? How to add these data sources into the Splunk instance is.
So where we have to configure the data sources such as log forwarders, and those logs get forwarded into Splunk actually, right? So there is a for syslog it is a different type of configuration. We have here especially adding the data sources where we have to configure a data source. Right now we do not have it here because we are looking into the cloud system, right?
Yes.
This is like an AWS. There, like this is publicly available domain name also. Okay, right? So on this respective ports, port number 8000. That is what is the standard port. On that port, we have to get the data sources received from various different systems. Maybe it is a firewall simulation or any other security device simulation where we will be getting it through.
Now, I'm beginning to get a scope and a grasp of what the Splunk security framework is all about. So my question is, out in the field, in the work environment, when we say you're working on the enterprise security or the SIEM framework, right? Is
Yes.
this, are we going to use, is this the Splunk app that we're going to use?
This particular training is concentrated on Splunk, but there are many other SIEM tools, okay, such as there is QRadar, there is ArcSight, right? All such kind of tools are there, and there may be in open source there is something called OSIM, OSSIM.
Yes. No, I'm just talking in terms of Splunk, right? Because
Yes,
like for example, let me go back a bit. When we do like Splunk, I mean like power user stuff like that, where we learn how to ingest data, like universal folders, all those, how to configure those ports, bring in data into Splunk, and then configure the
yes, yes,
data and
yes,
index the data, right? So that's at
yes.
the user and admin part of Splunk. But my question is, when we talk of, let me say, okay, for right now, let me just put it this way. Let me say I come to you and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm looking for a job to do Splunk enterprise security. My question is, this what we'll be doing? Is this the app we'll use for the enterprise security?
Yes, we do use. This is the app to use for it. You see
Oh,
here, this
yes,
name,
yes,
app for security.
yes.
Splunk's product name is Enterprise Security. Splunk Enterprise Security is the name of Splunk's SIEM product.
Oh, okay,
SIEM is a horizontal. Okay,
okay,
it's a terminology. Security Incident and Event Management is a common terminology. There are multiple vendors are there. Splunk also is one of the vendor of such kind of a technology. For
okay,
delivering such kind of a technology in the form of product, Splunk's product's name is Splunk Enterprise Security.
okay. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
so with this, shall we be working with data that's already forwarded, or we have to do like like importing data and then try to do all the other
No
stuff
importing
before
data.
coming
It
to
is not
data?
importing data. Splunk works on all live data, right?
Okay, yes,
Right? Because all those various devices which have been deployed on your network will start forwarding the data into Splunk,
okay,
right? That's how it works. It is like Splunk is a kind of a center of gravity for all event collections. We'll be looking into the deployment model of Splunk, and we are going to go through the remaining screens on Splunk console, Splunk web console, right? So, and also what are the various different product lines that Splunk gives. Okay, so just let me start with the the product lines that Splunk gives, and where you can download less download.html file, the page on Splunk's portal website, right? So, and you get all these various different versions of Splunk out here, right? One is what you have: Splunk Enterprise, Splunk Cloud, Splunk Lite, and Splunk Free, right? So this enterprise is having more about all the mostly about all the enterprise line products. So such as for security or machine learning or anything of that sort. That's what Splunk Cloud is like, both into security and non-security product lines. Same way there is something called Splunk Lite, which is to store the data or alerts and reports, etc., on your desktop or any such kind of a smaller capacitized system, such as it may not have good high storage or something, but it's for a small implementation. And free is the free Splunk enterprise platform for log redirection. It would not have much of correlation and all those capabilities. It will only have basic level of the features. That's the thing. Okay. So you can see here there is something called comparison chart, which we can just take a look quickly for the feature differences between all these products. Okay. you see here. So features are so many features. The maximum daily indexing volume. So daily indexing volume, that means how much of the data that Splunk can accumulate on daily basis, right? So in case of free version, it's just limited to 500 MB. Means you can redirect the logs up to a quantity of 500 MB per day. Splunk Lite up to 20 GB and SES or SE Splunk Enterprise in not necessarily only security, other product lines also unlimited, and Splunk Cloud also unlimited, because these are all like a premium products. Next, maximum users. Splunk free is for only one user, like himself is an operator, himself is an administrator, and all those things. The multiple roles in a single user. And Splunk Lite will give up to 5 users. So, and Splunk Enterprise unlimited number of users, Splunk Cloud also unlimited number of users.
My query is this is for data daily data indexing licensing model, right?
Exactly.
So for enterprise security, it depends upon how many security devices in logs and type of security, right?
Yes, yes, yes. That is also this. These are all four different types of packages, kind of a thing that you can avail from Splunk. Yet one is free, that is for one user for any very small deployment. Second one is a Splunk Lite, which is for a medium kind of a deployment, where you will be having a 5 user roles to use, right? And Splunk Enterprise and Splunk Cloud are unlimited, where the number of devices somewhere here it will come down, I think so. Single sign on, 1 second. Okay, so the price per the device, number of security devices forwarding to it, they do calculate based on that. Okay, so here in case of Splunk Enterprise and Splunk Cloud, they do give you unlimited. Okay, but however, it is they are calculating the scalability depending on the amount of that the data that is pumped into Splunk. Got it? The for first 3 models, the storage is all up to you, like what you buy for, right? And in case of Splunk Cloud also, because it's a premium license, that you will get the storage, and they will dynamically allocate it. It's like an AWS cloud, it is nothing else, right?
Okay, it's unlimited.
So as you know this elastic cloud model, right? Elastic cloud model.
Okay.
So where imagine you are able to exhaust the initial allocation, it will automatically scale it up. Yeah. So then universal data collection indexing is available. All these features are available, but Splunk based apps, these are all available for all other things. However, only for AWS in case of the Lite, right? So Splunk premium solutions, these are all available only in the paid version. That is either enterprise or cloud. High availability, Splunk premium solution, disaster recovery, clustering, distributed search, performance acceleration, all these things, right? And access control, single sign on, these two, because in case of the difference between the third and fourth, that is like Splunk Enterprise and Splunk Cloud, is on the cloud itself. You should have your LDAP set up, or Active Directory, or any such kind of a directory servers to be set up in your cloud itself, and then you can join Splunk to that particular system which is on the cloud, because that requires public IP address or public domain name to be joined to domain. Then developer environment, they give the APIs and SDKs. Why do they give this? So they give this mainly, Splunk can be integrated northbound with some other software, some other tool. Maybe you may have a ticketing tool, right? Remedy Force or any such kind of a ticketing tool, or IBM Tivoli, TSRM, or such kind of tools where Splunk's incidents and events can get logged in as tickets. So Splunk will redirect the tickets, the information that can get generated as a ticket on a ticketing system. So there's a northbound access, northbound integration. For that purpose, they give you APIs and SDKs. Then dynamic data only in the Splunk cloud. In case of support, in case of the free edition, there is no support. It's a community support, like you can log into open source and all those people, like the way you can ask anybody and everybody kind of a support. It is not official support by Splunk. And remaining models, there is a support plan which is given. However, now Splunk Enterprise is a free download. Splunk Free is a free download. Okay, that is like this: Splunk Free and Splunk Enterprise. But in case of Enterprise, there is a requirement of key and all those things. Okay, so these are the various models available.
Chinmay, right now we are using Splunk Enterprise 520 GB of license. So if you want to integrate onboard the Splunk security, does we need any separate license, or we can adjust with the Splunk Enterprise 520 GB?
You need a separate license, because Splunk Enterprise security SES is a separate one. Okay.
So if you want to onboard security, means we need to
Yeah,
add
then
separate.
yeah, you need to get that particular license enabled from Splunk. So see, various other things, like you have it here, right? Splunk for security, Phantom, and Splunk Enterprise security. This is what you need to get for your on-premise, or that's on-premise deployment itself. This one, fine. So now we will move on to the deployment model. So the Splunk can be deployed in a single hierarchical model or multi-hierarchical model. So when I talk about single hierarchical model, it is about Splunk indexer as a single. Okay, let's just deep dive into this. There are some diagrams. I'll show you how it is getting deployed. Okay, so this is one simple way of deploying, where okay, so this is your Splunk. Splunk runs basically, how Splunk works. Let us see a little bit in depth. Splunk uses syslog server. Okay, syslog daemon. So that is typically any Unix or Linux systems use for keeping track of and recording the system logs. Where, if you are aware on Windows events, how Windows event servers work. Similarly, for recording all the system related events in various different, the under various different facility and severity, the syslog also is a daemon that talks starting from the kernel of the system, that is most internal part of the operating system, till the shell of the system, including the services and kernel modules and shell programs or scripts or anything of that sort, right? So where each of the application of the system can also log their respective logs using syslog, right? So syslog is a daemon by nature. It runs in the background, right? It's not daemon, it is daemon. Okay, right? So that by nature it runs in the background and keeps listening on a particular port. Okay, so syslog typically has categorizes the logs under two parameters. One is for the severity, another for a facility. So, okay, just let me pull out all those things for your benefit. Okay, so syslog, right? So facility code, keyword, and description. Okay, and next comes severity level. That is severity of the respective event. Say, for example, if I have a sample syslog, okay, there is a facility. Facility is to identify what kind of a service it is on the operating system, because Splunk also runs on an operating system, like the way routers, switches, all those things run on a respective operating system, right? So they need to keep track of the historical events that had happened on the system. That's the reason they use logging mechanism, right? So facility code 0, if it is, then it is a kernel message, right? So that kernel message is, something that systems quite internal part that records. Next is the user. That means user level messages. Next is a mail system. Next is a system daemons. Like syslog D is a daemon, there must be lot of daemon services which are running on the system. Next is authentication authorization related messages, like who logged in, who logged out, what is happening in the logged in session, and all such kind of things. Next is syslog. These are the internal message to the syslog service itself. Next is a line printer subsystem. This is nowadays not many people are using it, but you know how, because we are all using most of the cases network printers, right? But if you see that on that respective system of where the printer could be attached in a simple user network, there uh, there is something called spooling, right? The printer typically works based on the spooling of the jobs. So if a job is spooled to the printer, it records some kind of a messages, that is LPR type of message. And next is network news subsystem. That's like a news type. News type means there are NNTP servers, right? News network transmission protocol servers, and all such kind of services could run it as a network news. And UUCP, of course, no longer it is being used. UUCP used to be used during Unix times most, and initial days of Linux most. Next is a cron. Cron. It is like, you might have heard of cron tab messages. Like it is to schedule the job to automatically get executed at a particular time or at a particular frequency. So cron job, uh, the cron jobs are all recorded. Like whenever the scheduled tasks are run, and in syslog file, cron type of a message gets recorded. Next is authentication privilege, that is auth-priv. So whether who is allowed to log in, who is prohibited from login, who has made the failed login attempts, all these things get under this. Similar to that, see why you are seeing so many FTP, UUCP, and NTP are all because syslog is quite age old. Okay, so during those days, these were all like standalone, independent, important services, but no longer they are, because NTP is replaced. NTP is a network time protocol. Okay, NNTP is also kind of replaced. UUCP is also kind of replaced. That's the reason you don't see much of an importance to these things. But security, console, etc., etc. See, these are all quite important ones, like a daemon, kernel, user. These are all system related. Some of them are network related, and some of them are respective services related. Okay. So facility code, you see here 0 to 23. There are different codes. And severity level. Severity in the sense like what grabs the attention, that is severity, right? And what requires the attention and at what level and what order. Now, if you see in a syslog file, if you see something like emerge, then it is an emergency issue, panic condition in the system that needs immediate mitigation attention. So say there are starting from emerge to debug, 8 different severities are there. It is as good as like how you have in case of tickets, right? So ticketing system, how it has. In case of ticketing system, it will have severity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that, right? Important, critical, etc. etc. So similarly here, it starts with emergency, then alert, then critical, then error messages, then warning messages, then notices, informational debug. Okay. So if a service is recording any message starting from 0 to 4 in syslog, 0 to 3 I could say, not necessarily 4, okay, 0 to 3, then the service cannot run. Service will be stopped. If it is warning, yes, it may run but not properly. If it is notice, informational and debug, no issues. It is just for your, the informational purpose. So this is how the syslog is. And you want to see a syslog message, you can visit this particular RFC, which will give you a sample syslog also. Okay, let me search. It's a big file. Okay, I'm just sample. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so or else that is for the purpose of sake of simplicity. Sample syslog file message. Okay, I'll take this. Let me take that. Or else. Okay. You see here, this is a sample syslog message. Okay. So where each syslog parameter is, delimited using a delimiter of colon. Can you identify that? Yeah. So which date it had occurred, then there is a colon. Which time it has happened, there is a colon. Sorry, which date is there? Date and time together is a colon. Sorry. Okay. So date and time. And then you see here something called this. You see here 48. And then there is an ID. ID user error. Right? So, and then all these things, then you see what is the type of the message. Type of the message is partition health measures / where did not suffice. Still using 96% space. This is one of it. Same way, blocked request. If you see blocked request, what had happened here? It says no allow rule matched for request with this particular URL. That means blocking the user from using this. Right? You see here following columns are given. Column 1, column 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's explained clearly. So request aggregation events, and certain cases you may also find. Let me go back and try for a simpler one. Log sample. Okay. Say let us say login successful. Okay. You see here login successful. This is what when it had happened and where it has happened. PAM, right? Pluggable authentication module. PAM Unix. That is a service on a Unix system. If you use SU, right, switch user command, then you will be getting this kind of a message in your log. Typically, where it will be on a Unix system or a Linux system is slash /varlog messages. Slash var slash log slash messages. That is the path you will have these things run. Okay. So now moving on to how Splunk uses this. Okay. Okay. So now to understand that how Splunk uses that, let us go to one more small topic in the middle. That is syslog redirection. Okay. So everybody uses this thing, redirection, on a simple syslog forwarding in a Linux system. This is what I wanted to showcase. Well, so there is a syslog forwarder, Linux computers, multiple Linux computers. Each system, each Unix or Linux system will have its own syslog service running. So in that, if you could type a simple command such as syslog -r and the remote host, that is that remote host can be your Splunk box, the IP address of the Splunk box. So then that respective Linux system will start forwarding all those logs. It will not record any longer locally. It will start forwarding the log messages to that respective IP address. So Splunk needs it to be done that way. If any of those systems on which you have to enable the log forwarding, then log forwarding to the Splunk's IP address so that Splunk can listen it and capture it. On behalf of all those systems, it will start recording those things. So if you see here the respective diagram, okay, I would go for this and I will slightly enlarge this. You have here network devices, you have here Linux computers. All these are redirecting it into this particular box. This is another Linux computer, correct? So here, these are systems. This, of course, this Linux computer also will have its own applications running, right? Even those are all logged in, and all the remote systems logs are also getting forwarded into this, and these are all recorded under this particular thing itself. And then it can go ahead, whatever you want to do. The next part, forget about it. That is none of our attention at this moment, right? So similarly, I'll go to this deployment model. You are seeing here what are all the various different kind of a system could forward the logs to Splunk. Solaris, any router, maybe Cisco, Juniper, or whatever routers, because on all the routers that are available in the market, you get a feature of log forwarding. And AIX systems and switches, of course, all the make and models of switches also can forward the log to a remote host, and Linux based systems, right? So, but in case of Windows, what do you do? In case of Windows based security devices or anything of that sort, then you have to configure the event viewer, Windows event viewer, to forward it, right? Now, let's go back to this models of deployment. This is one model, Splunk with the direct network inputs. You see this again, same, because syslog typically uses UDP because it doesn't care whether that
Chinmay,
particular, right? So you have all these things. However, syslog records it, and then all these things are stored in the Splunk's database, correct? What all the things you see here is Splunk installed on existing aggregation host. Uses simple syslog D. Splunk with the direct network inputs, right? it takes into the Splunk directly and stores on the database, right? Next, if it is Splunk installed on host, receiving batched IT data moves. Like, for example, you are accumulating all the logs here, and in a batch you are going to redirect there. Like using the remote system copy, like RCP or any such kind of a protocol, copying the logs all together and putting it in offline and archiving, and then Splunk analyzing it. That is another model. Next is a Splunk indexing model, where Splunk, there is a middle box. Here they have shown as Solaris. It may be Linux also, right? It may be AIX also. It needs to be one kind of an operating system where all your network hosts are forwarding their respective logs into a particular common box, and that common box forwards it into Splunk. This is another model, right? Then is Splunk installed on all servers, where say you have the single user Splunk installed on all these things, and then get all these logs forwarded from Splunk to Splunk into your Splunk cloud or Splunk security, enterprise security box. So these are the various different types. Like you have options. The simplest one is simple log forwarding. That is the direct way possible.
Chinmay, can you just tell about that last one? Last that will directly forward to the Splunk.
Yeah, this is like on a, you have a Windows system, you have a Linux system, or you have any other systems where you install Splunk standalone. Okay.
Okay.
When you install Splunk standalone, Splunk will locally take over the job of locally available log recorder. Either it may be locally in case of Linux or any boxes, it may be syslog. Splunk standalone will replace that syslog locally. And if it is Windows, it will replace event server locally. And Splunk will redirect it to the Splunk cloud or Splunk security or another Splunk. It is a Splunk to Splunk. Imagine on this box there is Splunk, and here there is Splunk. Splunk to Splunk talking.
Is it like a agent installation?
It is not agent. It communicates like agent manager, right?
Mhm.
But it is Splunk single user or a multi-user also.
So which one will be good in all these three models? Which one will be the better one?
Okay. So in case of the better one, in the sense, better one would be the simple syslog forwarding. If on your system syslog is available. If on your system syslog is not available, such as Windows systems, Windows servers, at that time you have to use this. Means the answer is a combination would be better for you. Again, it depends on the heterogeneity that you have in your network. What are all the different types of the systems that you have? If you have all Windows network, then you have to stick to this model, last model. Why? Because syslogd server is not there, correct? Then you have to have a simple Splunk installed on your Windows, all Windows servers, so that those Splunk applications will take over the job of event recording on your Windows server and forward to your Splunk enterprise.
Chinmay, which component we need to install in this Solaris or Windows? Like forwarder?
Splunk forwarders, exactly. Well, so in case of Solaris and all those things, you can do a simple syslog forwarding also. Okay, because when you install another application, of course you have to take care of the respective systems load and performance also, right? So for example, if you are running some critical email server on your Linux box, which is already having sufficient load of email exchanges, then additionally installing a Splunk forwarder application or a Splunk single user application, right? Then it will it may add up to it may be little bit expensive operation, right? So that's the reason, if there is a syslog redirector available, start using that straight away. Deployment with multiple Splunk indexers. So this is for the large enterprise setups where you have multiple offices, right? And you have multiple different Splunk server deployment models. It is like within Splunk itself, it is multiple thing. One is with the data balancing. This is the load balancing model where you have multiple Splunk installations, Splunk server installation, and on a the load sharing basis, the logs are being forwarded, where it's a all these things, it's a duplicacy ultimately, and each Splunk instance will talk to the other Splunk instance, and it will do on a load sharing basis, right?
How this communication will happen within Splunk? These three
Yes,
Splunk.
Splunk provides you something called clustering models, right? Which yesterday in the configuration screen we might have seen that, I think, right? So anyway, we can see that now. After this, I'll show you that. Here
Okay.
itself, let me try. Okay. So this is a cluster monitoring. However, I could even cluster configure. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Here it was actually. So I can have this server settings, server controls in this. I can do my this settings. Okay, maybe it's a trial version. I don't see that, I believe. Otherwise, I should have here server settings. Here itself, I should have that cluster setting. Okay. Even otherwise, we can get it here in the server settings, where I can have this, so this where the one Splunk instance talks to the another Splunk instance on a load sharing model. It has internal cluster services. Based on that, it will do the data balancing, right? So I'll just get that checked with the organizer and have a couple of Splunk setups done and show you on that in the next classes.
So in forwarders, we have to mention auto will be equal to true for load balance.
That is forwarder's case, yes, of course. But however, the question of that Vishnu was how Splunk can speak to each other. Multiple Splunks can talk to each other. That was his question.
I think it's clustering and master.
Yeah. So you can have the cluster done in a data balancing model, and next is a data routing. In case of data routing, there will be data routers configured, where this is again a multiple Splunk, where we could configure the respective, maybe it is a different operating systems that could route the data into this Splunk and the service providers and other systems too. So next is a Splunk's index and search tiers. It's for the scalability, such as it's a large enterprise network where you have multiple Splunk server in multiple locations configured, where you can isolate the Splunk installation for particular purpose itself, such as one is for collecting all the logs and then forwarding it, and then certain things only to do the respective operations. You can segregate the operation, the functionalities to be done in each of the Splunk instances in a hierarchical model. Say, imagine this is from one data center, this is from another data center. both of them are redirecting to a common Splunk, which has uh, the the recording of the events from Splunk itself, other Splunk servers itself, and then it could use a SAN or NAS box for external storage or archiving the respective Splunk. So this is typically used in the large enterprises case where there may be millions of events per second get recorded.
Chinmay, what is SAN and Xboxes?
It's storage boxes, storage
Okay.
area network or network attached storages, where when Splunk is giving few millions of events per second, right? So then you require a large storage, additional storage, right? This is how
Okay.
it happens in case of all your web servers, email servers, where there will be external storage which would be
Okay.
attached to those respective servers. It's a
Okay.
large storage environment where Splunk also could use such kind of a large storage environment.
So that we need to set up, or Splunk will provide the storage.
No, Splunk cannot provide on a Splunk cloud, yes, of course, because it's the Amazon service, right?
Okay.
AWS service.
Uh-huh.
At that time, you can go for such kind of deployment. You can ask the Splunk to provide such kind of a deployment, or you can buy your own respective additional uh, servers, the storages on AWS,
Uh-huh.
right? You will get extra storage and configure that for that. You can do that,
Okay.
right? So we have here multiple different kind of events getting recorded at a particular time, and how many of them. So let's see that there has been a burst of host with multiple infection at a number of like 38 numbers of attacks would have happened. Let's see. Let's deep dive. So incident review. So when we look at this particular incident, let it get populated. Okay. So there are these many hosts which are infected together, where you can look at it. What is the type of the event? Host with multiple infection, in the bracket that you see is what is the host name or IP address, right? So this is under the security domain of endpoint. Endpoint means it must be the end user network that might have happened. And what is the urgency level is medium. So now if we have to take a look at the event, how the events are getting recorded in Splunk, again it is deciphering, or it is normalizing the syslog message and putting it across here, right? If you see here, first 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 columns are all 4 columns are all about what syslog has given. Next 3 columns are what Splunk decides, like the Splunk would give it the status. It will give the status flag, it will assign the owner flag, and it will assign the actions flag, right? So for example, an event has occurred on the network of the by the name on the host by the name host 013, where at the particular time of the date and time of this, and the particular host belongs to endpoint domain, and the type of the event, the urgency of the event is medium. So this is what the event was communicated from host 013 to Splunk, right? Now this is a fresh event that is not yet, nobody has attempted this event. That's the reason Splunk has kept it as a new. So next is owner. So currently, since the status of this particular event is new, right? The It is not assigned to anybody. It is unassigned. So the next tab says that action what has to be taken. So now this event can also be assigned to somebody, right? We can edit this particular tag and we can mention whatever is the value and then say save. Once we do that, then we can also edit this particular thing and we can make it as assigned to somebody. So if we have users, then we can assign this event to somebody, and then we can take this particular event to under respective actions. We can configure the respective actions such as add event for investigation, further investigation, or create notable event, build the event type, extract the fields, and all those things. But however, it starts with, okay, I want to investigate more.
Chinmay,
Let's say,
what would be the values of the status and owner?
what will be?
What will be the values which we need to give for the status and the owner?
If the users are created on the system, right,
Okay.
then you can assign the respective user to do this. Like say in case of multi-operator,
So
can
like a ticket assigning to someone in the team. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it is like that, exactly the
Okay.
same way.
Okay, so that if it is assigned to someone, they need to work on that log. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So I would do as an add event for further investigation. Then I can create the respective investigation. Right? You see here, you are adding the following events. This is the event with host 013 for investigation. There are no investigation to add to currently. Okay, I can create the investigation. I can create the investigation of my own test investigation. Then I can say new or in progress or pending result close. What you saw there, right? The new. Currently it is a new, right? I can say in progress. And I can say test investigation for further research. Then I can say start the investigation. Saved, and it is taking me to the start the investigation. I have it figuring out here, correct? See here. Now this is the workbench view. In the workbench view, I can see what are all the investigations that are pending for investigation. So I can say explore this and see this. See more details of this. Correct? So this says this is IDS alert. Correct? You see here the risk model is given on side. Give me a second. Let me hide this box a bit. So I have here the type of the event visible out here with a particular risk score assigned at 160, and risk object is this particular host name, and risk type is system. Risk object type is system, and risk modifier over the time, like how this particular risk has been modified over the period of time. You see here it was at particular time it was 80. That means twice, once 80, again 80. So the risk score became 80 plus 80, right? So next, what is the type of this particular alert? So this type of this particular alert is IDS alert. IDS means intrusion detection system alert. Okay. So what is the type of the alert?
It was giving the source of the IP, the alert triggered, and with the
Yeah.
host name, and
So
it was
this
giving a
is,
signature ID with a
yeah, intrusion detection event it is actually, correct?
yes,
Okay. So this, where it has happened, on which system it was caught?
and host 013.
Host 013. Correct? That's the destination of the attack.
Yep.
What is the source of the attack? Source of the attack is 13.
From the IP 13.251.8. T.124.
124, right? So what is the type of the intrusion? It's a host type. Means
Host,
it's not a network type of. It is not a network type of event. It is a host type of event. That means it has happened on this. It is showing. It is, when you have the type of host in the IDS type, it says that the HIPS or HIDS has detected this particular event. And what is that particular signature that has matched? The signature is Common Standard Protection Prevention Modification of McAfee Files and Settings. What does it mean? Can any attempts? When I see this kind of a signature triggering, what may be the activity that would have been attempted?
maybe any virus related.
No.
Modification of files.
Modification of
Actually,
files.
some other person is modifying the files. It is detected.
Okay.
Its
So why
event
would somebody do this?
the idea.
Why would somebody do this? Right? So if a spyware or a ransomware or anything that attacks your system, very first thing is it will try to disable all the preventive measures that are on your system. To do that, it needs to change the simple setting file where prevention yes is there. It has to try to make that as prevention no. Correct?
Yes, it matches with the signature.
Yes. So that means an attack has happened. That attack tried to change the McAfee files and settings. Means it is tried to modify the file of McAfee configuration. Means any software that you use on your system that will come with the config files, correct? Set of config files. Changing a config file means what? Changing the status of the application. Now, if an outbreak is attempted on your system, that outbreak, the attacker who does this, who causes this outbreak, is trying to modify the settings of your application by means of modifying the configuration file of that respective application. Now that event got caught because you already had advanced signatures available on your host intrusion detection system. Right? It did not allow that attacker to do that particular activity. So this event means that category is HIP file and severity is low. Means why it is low? It's low mainly because the attempt was blocked. If attempt was succeeded, just detected, but McAfee HIPS could not do anything, in that case the severity would have gone slightly higher. Why? Because it needs attention of the administrator to do something else, do a workaround. Correct? So this is one of them. Now we have done this context investigation. Next we can go to endpoint data. Changes made to registry of investigated asset. Identify data source, change analysis data model. Okay. So network data. There is no data set yet here, but here, okay, it's come now. Network data you see here. Let me explain it. Let me expand it. Okay. This event generated because of some kind of activity using some kind of protocol. See what user did to cause this event. Where did user download this particular attack? I'm making it more simpler.
Access to some URLs.
Yes, he accessed testweb.com,
Testweb.com. Yeah.
right, which is a source for the infection.
Infection. That's true.
Correct. So he tried downloading or something of that, or he might have simply clicked it. Means this particular event is some kind of a spyware or adware. Correct. So
Yes.
where a single URL came and user just clicked it and it took him there and it started, throwing various. It created automatic downloading of multiple b.txt, user1.jpg, b.txt again, use content 5.jpg, and all these various different files. This must be an adware or a spyware. Chances are there. And what did it do? What did it do in that order you can see there? What is it? It did first a get, HTTP get, means user requested for this file. And then there is something called stealth of information, which was attempted, right? Post means try to log in. Yes, I got the access, and then try to post some data onto that particular server. This is like, it may be stealing of login information from your desktop. That kind of an event it is.
Chinmay, where we can see which user has been accessed this.
Here it is, no? User, LDAP, user 4, user 5, all these things. When you saw in the previous screen, there were 168 number of such kind of users, events were there, correct?
Okay.
So this is what it is. And whenever you see a post request, it means it must be a login information. Login information might have been given to the source of attack or onward server. That's what is the case. Right here you see something like get and post together. Two of the requests went together. Means when accessing e.jpg kind of a file, there were two of the such kind of events together. Okay, so these are all like, the packet size and everything, all those things. And totally, if you see here, there are, if you go to the next, right, so many of them, so many. You see here different types of events you can see here.
Chinmay, to get this information in real time, what
Yeah.
you need to do? To write anything backend?
What you need to do, yeah, what you need to do is you have to simulate an attack, or really have to have a attack simulated, and you have to have HIPS installed first of all on your desktop, and then that desktop redirects all its log to this particular Splunk server. Okay? Because Splunk is compatible with any and every type of log forwarder. Well, so next is, if you have any other forensic information, then you can go ahead and add in content. Here it is like, now you got the event understood on the Splunk. Okay, so once you know the event, what do you do? Now you know the event also. Now you know the respective host on which it had happened and what are all the various different files also. Correct. Now adding artifacts comes into the picture. That means you can add the content or add an artifact after further investigation, because now Splunk has alerted you that on the host 13 some issue has happened. Now you will go, as a security administrator, what you will do, you will go and log on to that respective system and try to find out what really happened on that system. This is the reactive measure that you take, and do the respective root cause analysis of why it has happened and all those things. Or you go to that respective, okay, let us take exact example, right? So exact example may be, in that particular host 13, there may be a folder by name McAfee, under Windows System 32 and etc. Right? So in that McAfee folder, you may see some configuration files. You may want to check all those things and collect that respective artifacts, whether it is work proper or not proper. You collect that and then come back and add the investigation. So you can correlate this particular investigation activity to a typical police investigation activity. So how would they do? In case of that, they first go and register a particular case and then they do the investigation. While doing the investigation, they collect the fact files, right? Okay, I saw the place. This is what it looks like. I prepare a report out of it and then uh, submit that report. Same way, if there are any clues, I collect those clues. If there are any evidences on the spot of incident, then I collect all those evidences and then make it a case file and then submit it. So similar to that, the artifact is also here. So artifact, I can say asset or identity, right? I can mention and I can mention the description of the artifact. I can expand this particular artifact to add multiple other artifacts, like as many evidences I am getting in under single this thing, I can add that. Or I can add multiple artifacts one by one. These are all various different artifacts related to this respective event. Then I can submit it also, right? So same way I can do here, adding the content. So load the profile, load the additional content, or add a single tab. So I can add the content here, what you see here. There it's for our better understanding, right? So now I have done this particular investigation.
Sorry, one question, Chinmay.
Yeah.
So as you told, actually, we can get a samples right through. So from Splunk itself, we will get access for that device, or else.
No, we have to do that on that respective view. We have to collect the sample and upload in Splunk. Splunk is a repository. Splunk is
Okay.
not a tool. It is not that advanced tool where it will take you to the system and then get it. If the system
Okay. So
if the system sends it, Splunk will keep it. If system doesn't send it, Splunk has no way of collecting it. At that
as
time,
in a real time, if we don't have access, we need to request for that files, right? Whoever is
of
getting having access.
you have to ask that respective. It is like an incident has happened and you are contacting the owner of that respective asset. Correct? If
That's true. Yes.
host 13 is owned by some other user, you will send an email. I saw some kind of event happen on your system. Please go here and here and here. You get me these information. One, that is one way. Okay, by requesting you are getting it, or else.
Okay.
So typically all these security product lines, McAfee or Symantec or such kind of product lines, they have their policy enforcers, right? McAfee has something called McAfee e-policy orchestrator, which will control all the hosts in the network.
That's
Symantec
true.
has Symantec has something called Symantec endpoint protection. Like this, Sophos and all those people have their own managers. Like Trend Micro Manager is there. So all these security companies, they have their own managers. Correct? You can, being without disturbing or without informing the end user and asking him to do. Instead of that, you can escalate a ticket or talk to the what you say this policy orchestration managers who handle this McAfee EPO or Symantec SCP or such kind of a things and ask them in your network itself to get the artifact.
Okay. Clear.
Identities, assets, all these things could be added here. This is an asset actually, right? So host 13 is the asset. Next, here are various different things. I can edit the entry and change that all those things. These are all simple cosmetic changes, right? Correct? You see here, notable event under this is this. You have more details here. Event ID, risk score, untrust, PCI domain requires AV, all these things. These are all the remaining cosmetic related to the respective event host with multiple infections. There have been multiple infections on this host. Okay, now I can click done. Right, I can now see the summary of this. I have here status new unassigned. Now this has become like I have done this thing and it has become like notable event and created by me. Correct? This is the investigation artifact. I have created the artifact here. I can see timeline of this particular event. For the more details, right, I can say list view or a slide view. Slide view will show you more details like this. Okay, all these things here, and status is new, unassigned, all these things, event details. Now I can add an action, edit this entry, can say save the title, adding and all those 6 cosmetic changes to this. Next is the details of this event. Here it is field is critical is not true, high not true, all these things. Various hundreds of attributes related to that respective event. Right? I can see any number of such kind of things. What are all the things happened on the system? Everything is here. Correct? Okay. So list view, it will show you multiple things. Okay. Now open incident in a different grid. I can do here. All those incidents will come again, populated. By the time, let us go and finish our investigation here. Now I can edit this, which is investigation side in progress. It is right. I can say pending, change the status. I can say save. This is the investigation life cycle. Select identity, asset or identity. Identity, will say user details. Then type a label is user details. And I can say correlate other artifacts, expand artifacts. If it's there, it would come. If it is not there, I can say add artifact. So I have one is user type of artifact, another is asset type of artifact. Right? So then I can go to timeline and see here I have all these events. Correct? And then I can do edit and say resolve and then save. Clear? And now I see the summary here. See, 2 different investigation artifacts are added here. One is a host 13 artifact, another is a test artifact. It's a notable event type, it's a no source event type because it's a use identity artifact. Here, now after doing this, I can say refresh of this and I can go back to investigations. Right? I have test investigation here, which is in the status of resolve.
We have done an investigation where we have taken a precautions.
Yeah, this is investigation. It's not mitigation. Understand?
Mitigation,
No?
yeah.
Mitigation is next. Action is next.
Okay.
Now, very first thing, what you do? Very
The
first thing,
yeah, analysis and all.
you go investigate. Correct? Investigation. While doing investigation, you will collect all the data related to the incident. Correct? Right. So next is We can select all these things, and or we can create a new investigation or anything of that sorts, right? So you see here, there was another investigation which was earlier added, right? This was another investigation where brute force access behavior detected. Suspicious access attempts from Windows 2012 server in primary data center. Let us see what it is. Means all these users, client and admin, and these are the various different hosts, right? I can filter by assets only, or I can filter by users only. Both are possible. Now what had happened here? Sorry, I can explore this and see what had happened here. These are all the things which are happened here. You see here. Recent risk modifier. Excessive number of failed login attempts. Risk score 60. Access brute force. Access behavior detected. Detects excessive number of failed login attempts. Risk increased 80. So like this it carries on. Right? So I just collapse this and go to this part of the screen. Here it is coming in. That's just a display problem. This is the description of it actually. So this is a host source and this is a destination. Is not much related to the user. Okay. They just have added nothing more than that. No extra data here. They have not added anything extra. Network data, it must be there. You are not, yeah. User related, it is not there. Okay. They have just added it for the display purpose. But when we go to assets, it will find it.
So if we click on to explore means it will give us a description of all the data.
Yes. Say it's like typically it won't show you only based on the user. It show you client logged on to Acme 004. Then there may be some content. May not be, this guy may not be the user of this particular asset. Yeah, yes, this is guy is using this, yes, Acme 004, and is the user of that. You can see here what had happened here. Excessive number of failed login attempts, alerts with host with multiple infections discovered, detects excessive number of failed login attempts, detects authentication requests and transmit the password over the network as a clear text. Correct? So this is one of the violations, right? The rule violation, or it's a kind of a vulnerability, and discovers autonomous activities such as detection of clearing of log files. Attackers oftentimes clear the log files because they don't want you to have the traces of what they did. So these are all the things under this, and we can go to summary. You can see here multiple investigation artifacts are created, and you can see each of them expanded here. Okay. So then let's go back to investigations. Okay. So all investigations, these two are there. Two investigations assigned to me is this. It's assigned to me. Correct? My name is here. Collaborator 1%. Okay. So let's go back to incident review. This is what it is. Now I can take a mitigative action also. So can add to create notable event. I have already done the add event to investigation. Investigation completed. Can create a notable event. This I have to do all those things. Then it becomes okay. Something has been done. You see here facilities and owner and status. Status can say pending or resolved also. Right? I can do this resolved. Let's name it as multi infection. Multiple infections and save it. Okay. You see here status has been resolved. Correct? So I can add it is assigned, not necessarily now. I can still do that. Okay. Owner is unassigned, but okay. So the currently the status of this is resolved. I can change extract fields build type of 1 second. After this, okay, run adaptive response actions. I can create a response action, stream capture, NS lookup, NBstat. These are all various different type of actions that I can take on this. I can do, say for example, risk analysis. I can assign a risk score to this. I can change this risk object field, application of the risk of 10 risk score, and risk object is application. Say it is to the system.
What is the risk score? I mean, why we have mentioned?
Yeah, risk score is, it depends on, in any network. First of all, what you need to do is you have to identify what is important alert for you, what is important, what attack is of high risk for you. Correct? So in some organizations they may say that I any virus that any virus or any login attempt failure is quite important and that's of high risk, right? So who must be running online financial servers, right? Which are maybe banking, net banking, or any such kind of applications. At that time, for them, it becomes even a failed login attempt is also quite important event. But in case of let us say about user domain, simple user domain, login attempts, okay, people might be trying to log in, but it is not that important because these are all Windows users. So based on that kind of activity, you run something called the event risk assessment, network risk assessment. Okay. And when you do that assessment, for each of the activity, you have to assign a particular score. The highest score is the highest threat. Lowest score is the lowest threat for you. This is risk assessment activity and risk score assignment activity. Clear?
Yeah.